Okay. I would like to open this by saying one of the greatest aspects of being a gamer is truly being able to connect and meet and share something in common with people from all types in all different walks of life. This hobby is truly a hobby any and everyone can do, and they can share it with the world if they decide to do so. But sadly, this also means that it opens the door for many negative wrongdoings to occur. I will assure you that this is not a video about how video games potentially make people more violent, but it is a video addressing a very hard topic that many of us in the gaming community overlook. So I understand that this may be hard for a lot of you to listen to, but please do, because potentially it can save someone's life. For some background on what got me really needing to write this, is as someone who grew up playing online video games, and I grew up off of video games, is what I prefer to say. And what I mean by that is video games taught me a lot more about life, a lot more about my life, especially playing online, learning about other people's lives than any other aspect of living has so far. And I have never been directly a victim or approached by anyone who is a sex offender or a predator. But I can tell you for sure, as someone who started at 8 years old playing online, that these sex offenders, 9 times out of 10, and these predators have access to very young and very broken and vulnerable people. One of these people who is an alleged predator is DOJRP head Polecat324. At the time of writing this, Polecat324 has 1.17 million followers on his YouTube channel. For background on DOJRP, it is a huge GTA 5 role playing server. It's where people can play cops and robbers. I started watching this content when I was about 14 years old, and that's primarily because I wanted to join the military police. I was in JRTC, and I wanted to join the military police, and I started watching people role play playing Orma, and then I came across Polecat324 playing GTA 5 DOJ, and I really wanted to, do that. So I watched his content at 14, but I didn't sub to him until I was about 16 years old. And the reason for that gap is because I wasn't really into YouTube. I didn't get most of my watching stuff from YouTube. I was watching television. I was watching Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Disney Channel, all of the above. So that's why I didn't subscribe until I was about 16. But one of the facts of the matter is that Polecat is the reason why I went out to buy a gaming PC and why I started streaming, because I wanted to join the DOJ server and I wanted to stream. I actually did get into the DOJ servers, but I had other obligations, so I couldn't meet their requirements in order to stay. And one of those requirements is having a certain amount of game time every month, or in-game time every month, and I didn't meet those requirements because I just wasn't able to play. Uh, but it's safe to say that Polecat had a huge impact on me. Oh, well, better phrase that. Polecat content had a huge impact on me. Nevertheless, this doesn't mean I feel like, or I should feel like, I owe him anything. And I feel that that needs to be stated for those who are watching this video to defend him. You don't need to. If this individual deem it necessary to, they will defend themselves. And trust me, I am guilty of defending content creators too. I defended PewDiePie when I was about like 15 years old on YouTube. And just recently, when I was 20 years old, I was defending a TikToker, Only Jess, on TikTok. And it turns out that that person is a racist. So trust me, you don't need to defend these content creators. We as viewers of content creators need to view ourselves as just that, viewers. We're not these people friends, we're not their roommates, we're not their family. And trust me, I understand that made you laugh when no one else could. They helped you through hard times where other people weren't there for you. But them being there for you, they also were hurting someone else. And it is the belief of many that they need to answer for the harm and in or the allegations of harm they may or they have committed. And too many of us just write that off as being cancel culture. And I say us there because I did it too. But it is important to note that cancel culture is and was a soundbite created by people who were guilty of committing misconduct. And most of those people were committing sexual misconduct. So you don't want to be quoting someone who is a known predator, a known sex offender. And I also would like to believe that if we're going to spew out these words of these bad people, at least make it be something that is a real thing. Anyhow, if you do believe that council culture is a real thing, it wouldn't be the objective of these people to ruin other people's lives for no good reason. The objective, the overall objective, will be to hold the individuals who committed these wrongdoings accountable for their actions. To put this in like a capitalist way of thinking about it, in a way that I think about it a lot of times, it's like if a TV network cancels a show for not having enough viewers or because it didn't bring in enough money, that TV network made a decision based upon the best possible outcomes for them. And sometimes these TV networks are going to get it wrong. In the event of a content creator, we as viewers are basically that network. We make up the bulk of it. And sometimes cancel culture, if it is a real thing, is also going to get it wrong. But it is my belief, and from what I've been viewing, from what I've been seeing on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of these places, 9 times out of 10, the number of times cancel culture gets it right outnumbers the number of times it got it wrong. And if it does turn out to a point where those two were to flip and it was going to get things, and it has gotten things more wrong than it has gotten things right, then we will get rid of it altogether. But it hasn't been doing that yet. And there's very, very little evidence that it has. But overwhelmingly, many times, when we hear these allegations towards content creators, the person that are accusing these individuals of this misconduct are oftentimes shown to be trying to counsel them, and people start to pick sides. Oh, this is not council culture. They're standing up for themselves, and it's the right thing to do. And then other people are like, leave the content creator alone. You're just hating. You're just so soft. You're all of these negative things. And both sides, just the people that's saying that this person is lying are all of these negative things. And then you don't see people offering information and help on how to properly report these things. To be clear, I am saying both sides are wrong for not giving this information out. But that should be our focus as human beings. It shouldn't be whether or not someone is right and someone is wrong. We shouldn't even try to apply ourselves to that. What we should try to apply ourselves to is getting people the information most prevalent and necessary for the situation that's unfolding. Whether that be information on how to go and conduct this through a legal system, whether that be information on how to go get proper help for the issues that you are facing. Because at the end of the day, if they're accusing someone of these allegations, 9 times out of 10, they are affected by it, and they need some type of support that is more so prevalent, and not us fighting back and forth and proving them right, but it's better set to be a therapist or a psychologist or someone who is qualified to deal with those issues that these people are facing. And we don't give that information. So in the case of Polecat 324, people are, people are asking for evidence of sexual assault on minors. That shouldn't be your mindset. And something like this in general, that shouldn't be your mindset. It doesn't matter the form of assault. Even if someone was battered or beaten, you shouldn't be asking them for evidence. You should be giving them help and resources and information on how to go about getting the help necessary. And the last thing that I would like to talk about on this subject, and I feel that it needs to be stated, it is hard for the individual friends, family members to deal with someone close to them being accused or being guilty of being a predator of this of things like this. But 2 points. One, if the writing is on the wall, you must, in my personal belief, you must confront these things head on. That means if your child or a child comes to you and tells you that things are happening to them, listen. Because nearly 9 times out of 10, they will be right about the things that are happening to them being wrong. And the same goes for if they're a teenager. Listen to them. Notice their body language. Notice the activities that they start to partake in. Don't just dismiss these things. And on the other hand, if you feel as if someone is being a predator or conforming to some kind of misconduct, confront them head on in a safe manner. Confront these things, especially if they're your friends or family. Hold them accountable for their actions or inactions that could have led to negative actions. Because 9 times out of 10, they know what they're doing is wrong, and they most likely won't help. In point 2, I understand that life can be hard for almost anyone, and life is hard for everyone, but there should be no amount of money that allows someone to get away with pedophilia. And not only as a father, but as a human being, as someone who's been saying shit like this since they were 16 years old or younger, who learned about this stuff from younger, no one should be allowed to get away with pedophilia. And one of the biggest issues with misconduct is people take too long to come out about it. And I'm not talking about the victims, I'm talking about the bystanders around these people. A lot of these times, people don't say anything for whatever reason. In the case of DOJRP, one of the biggest people who is calling out POCAT 324 is Sosa Vinci, who was not only a longtime member of DOJRP, but was POCAT's roommate. So, in my personal opinion, he's a credible source. But Sosa took too long to come out about this information. And he gives his reasonings, and his channel is linked below. So is POCAST 324. Their channels are linked below. But Sosif has a video, and I recommend checking it out after watching this. And he gives his reasons for not coming out and speaking up earlier on the things that are happening. And he claims that he didn't speak up earlier because he was in a bad spot financially before joining before being a part of DOJRP, and before living with POCAT, and POCAT helped them out, and DOJ itself, the servers and being a part of that community and having a big name attached to it like POCAT 324 and Bay Area Bugs and Jeff Fabiano, having those big names attached to it in the role playing community really lended to him being able to build his platform and build his financial wealth. And he didn't want to build it up somewhat, at least, right? And he didn't want to lose that. And as I put in my book, you need to know your price. In other words, what are you willing to do for financial gains? Where you do, and where do you draw the line on what you are not going to do? For me, I think everyone should draw the line at pedophilia or for any kinds of sexual misconduct for that matter. And if you don't, you need to reevaluate. And I know Sosif, he is reevaluating now, but it's been a long time. We don't know how many victims. Sosif's platform and people coming to his platform saying we need evidence, we need proof, we need evidence, and he's been trying to find some and been digging things up. But what I think needs to happen, I think people need to actually go and report these things. We do not need to be courtroom judges. We do not need to be asking for evidence on these things. We need to be giving information to the people that are looking into it, the people that are reporting on it, and telling them how to properly report these things to the proper authorities. So at the end of the day, if you're still a part of this organization, or if you're part of any organization that the head is profiting and making money and is allowed because of the organization to do and commit misconduct, report it. There's not enough money in the world to make you look past that. Trust me. As a good person, as you being a good person, as you being someone who lives matter, who people care about, who people wouldn't want to see in a position similar to the victims and how these victims are being treated, you should and need to speak up. And I hope this video not only is a reflection of DOJRP, but the entire gaming community and how we need to do more and how we need to speak up more for the young children that are a part of this and content creators. You have young people watching you. Do more. I'm not saying change your content to be more kid friendly. No, I'm saying do more to protect those kids when it comes to being a part of the gaming community. And I don't know what the answer is to that. But I know damn sure one of the starts is having a way to properly report these guys and report the things. And I say these guys, I mean these individuals and what they are doing and making it clear that it is wrong. So with all of that being said, there are resources down below. If you're someone who is a victim and you feel that you need help, there are resources in the information tab. There is resources for being able to spot this misconduct happening in front of you. There are resources for being able to spot self-harm happening in front of you. And there are resources for those individuals who may unfortunately be people who carry out these actions. There's resources to teach you on how to find a therapist and how to find someone to talk to. And there's resources on how to report these individuals. And hopefully, if you are someone committing these things, how to report yourself. Because you won't get better by committing these actions.